So, I'm with my friend and colleague Anthony today to discuss Firefox OS. So I didn't have a lot of things to say. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm Nitot on Twitter and tnitot@mozilla.com on email if you use that old way of communication. I still do myself. So let's talk about mobile and the web and JavaScript. Today, unfortunately, mobile is a set of silos, proprietary silos. On the left, this is the iPhone, where organizations like Apple do devices, do the App Store, do the operating system, and pretty much own the whole experience. Next to that, there is Android from Google. Google is now in a hardware business with Motorola Mobility. They also have an app store, which is Google Play. And of course, they make Android. It's slightly more open than Apple. They're very dynamic. I mean, most of them represent the majority altogether of the smartphone market. And then you have a third player here who's having a hard time getting a foothold on the smartphone business, which is Microsoft. And exactly with their partner Nokia, they're having a very similar approach, which is, well, Nokia makes the phones, Microsoft has the marketplace, and they also make the operating system. And in all three cases, the goal is to, well, basically push developers to adopt a tool chain. So in a case of iOS, you will have to use Objective-C and their proprietary APIs. On Google, it's Java and their own set of APIs. And so, well, it works. It works now. But there are limitations. Limitations are, well, the software that application developers build is device-specific. So it means you build an application for Apple, it will be in no way compatible with Android. It means that as a developer, either you're totally locked in or you have to write the same application twice and maybe 3 times if you want to be on Microsoft silo. It's also, well, in terms of revenue, you have to go through the app stores, and we've seen how inflexible Apple can be in this regard. Also, customer relationship is mediated by the store. I mean, you as a brand, if you are an application developer, if you want to sell something on the iPhone, it's Apple who sells for you. And that's it. You have no say. That's the way it is, and you can't negotiate. All right. So that was today. And this is what we want to see tomorrow. Technically not tomorrow morning, because tomorrow, is Sunday, and it's going to be a bad day for launching a product, but pretty soon. So Firefox OS is an HTML5 and JavaScript operating system. It's basically our way at Mozilla to take the technologies of the web, but also the values of the web, onto a mobile ecosystem. Don't touch anything. It's going to work. Ta-da! Can we send good vibes to that thing? Yes. Yes. Also, so we want to take, well, basically what you see here, and that's what is really interesting with Firefox OS, is everything you see on the screen as a user is actually a web page. Everything is HTML5, CSS3, and JavaScript. And actually, on the early prototypes of the operating system, we had a key that you could press, and that would show the source code of the page. And so you should really see it was useless to removed it, but it was fantastic as a developer to see that you were actually using a local web page as using your phone. So what's interesting, it's because it's easy. Because it's a web page, it's very easy to customize. So we have examples here. When you receive a call, 2 example, it's just a different style sheet, but pretty much same code within HTML and JavaScript, or even the home screen being also a web page could be easily customized. So how do we make this happen, and how is it structured? Basically, it's a device, of course, the hardware, the kernel, which is a Linux kernel. This is what we call Gecko, our rendering engine. And then everything you have on top of that is a web application. So you could think of the phone being a way to write HTML5 native applications. The native language is JavaScript for the phone. The fact that we have a smaller stack here, as opposed to here, where you will have a browser platform on which you would put web application on top of that, we have a shorter stack, means we can make it run on lower-end hardware. And actually, you will see demos later in this presentation running very inexpensive hardware. So what does that mean for developers? It means 2 things. First, content owners can maintain a direct connection to their audience. Means we do offer a marketplace, which is a good thing. But on the other hand, you can have a relationship as a developer. You can have a relationship from your own website with the users. You can sell direct, if you will, without having to go through the marketplace. So it's the best of both worlds. You can sell through the marketplace, or you can sell direct to your users. The marketplace bringing enhanced discoverability as on top of your top marketing of your existing marketing efforts. When it comes to carriers, carriers can get to play in this ecosystem. First, it could be billing users, creating built-in carrier billing and revenue sharing. So it's good for developers, it is good for carriers. And we'll see later on what's good for the users too. So how can we, at Mozilla, claim to compete with these very large players that are Apple and Google? Well, our approach is to leverage the openness of the web and the fact that it's easy. It is not a proprietary platform. And on top of that, we have tons of people who already know the web and can play with it. So no need to learn to develop against proprietary native APIs, and everything that you do is writing for the web. What's in it for users? The price tag. The fact that we have a short technology stack enables us to aim at inexpensive hardware, and which of course could make us popular with a larger addressable market. And tons of apps, because basically this is the web, and you have the freedom that comes with it. One thing we would like to see happen in particular is that when you purchase an application, you can run it on your Firefox OS phone, but you could also run it if you have another device, maybe running Android, and you happen to have Firefox on it, you will be able to run this application on your Android device, and you paid only once. So this is it from my part. I will leave you with 2 URLs, marketplace.mozilla.org and developer.mozilla.org/mobile, which is our developer documentation. It's a wiki. It's evolving very quickly. And now Anthony is going to cross fingers, because can you see the issues we have with video? Can you imagine when you have several smartphones and technology being developed? It's going to be even better. The demo effect is going to go full swing.
Yeah, we're going to cross fingers for the next 15 minutes. Just because it's JS.everywhere, I brought a T-shirt that showcased that. It's even on T-shirts. So you can't read it, but this is an HTML page that generates the logo that you're seeing. So it takes a Firefox logo, put it into a canvas, and then do ASCII art with it. So I'm going to have 3 phones, and I'm going to hope one of them will work. Like we prepared this talk 2 days ago, so it might not work. First one, not yet. Okay. Can I have the camera? Thank you, Miral. So before showcasing Firefox OS, I'm going to show you Firefox on Android. So this is Firefox for Android, and this is a web page. What I want to show you is that we're going to bring APIs to browsers and Firefox OS to use every sensor that you get in a phone, every API that normally are only available to native apps. So the first one here showcases the fact that I'm online, and I'm not going to turn offline because that's asking for trouble. Next, you have the battery charging at 27%. This is a JavaScript API. You just query the level of battery, and then you can draw whatever UI you want. Then you have the far text. If I put my hand over the phone, it's going to detect that I'm close to it, and it changes the text. Then there's geolocation, and you know what it is. We also have a notification, so I'm going to hit the timer here. So and when it stops at 0, it's going to show a Android notification on top. So Firefox is talking to me, it's time. On the right, you have a small phone, and when I move, it grows and shrinks, and I can also turn it. And basically, it's a device orientation API that detects the way the phone is handled at the moment. Next is a vibration API. So you can't see it, you can't hear it, but when I touch 2 seconds, the phone is vibrating for 2 seconds. Yeah, I can. It's really powerful. Next one is taking pictures. So it's your time to smile. Oops. Yeah, Miral. I'm glad you're here. So it will go back. So I'm going to use it, and then you can take the photo I just taken, and you can see Miral doing whatever Usain Bolt thing, and it turns into an Instagram in your browser. You can compute whatever you want. So I took a picture, and then I can go full screen. When I press the full screen button, it will run Firefox full screen, and also in CSS, we can detect the fact that we're full screen and change the UI. So when I go full screen, I just have the time and the battery level. And as you can see, there's no UI, and it's like a real native app. Okay. As Tristan explained, when we do web apps, we don't want to be tied to a marketplace, because you're not tied to a marketplace in real life. You can go buy your shoes in every store. So why should you only buy them from? Why should you buy your apps from only one store? So I have an install button over here, and I'm not in a marketplace. It's just a regular page. So imagine you're a newspaper, and you have readers already, and you want them to use your app, but you don't want to pay the Apple fee or the Google fee to talk to your readers. So you can just put an install button. less than 10 lines of JavaScript to add and a small JSON file to describe the app. And then you get this pop-up that says, do you want to install this? Yes, of course I want. It's going to fetch the JSON description of the app. And when I go back to the screen, I have an icon here. And when I press it, it's going to load the app and go on the network, because I haven't done the offline cache work for it. And since the Wi-Fi is not that good, we're going to have to wait. But it's going to come. Yes. So this is the same page that I showed you, except there's no Firefox UI on top of it. So you can do whatever you want from that. And that's it for Firefox for Android. It's already available, I think, in beta and not in the latest release, but I don't remember. Anyway, so that's for Firefox for Android. Is it okay for the camera? How many time? Okay.
Nice.
So I'm going to switch to another phone. And, ooh, yeah. So this phone is running Firefox Os. Where's the camera that does that? So this is Firefox OS, and I hope I'm on the Wi-Fi. So I'm going to check and go in the parameters. As you can see, it's in French already. No, you can't see it, but it's in French.
It's also in French.
Yeah. Anyway, if it doesn't work, we don't really need the network to showcase stuff. Let's move on. So this is a real phone, and blah, blah, blah. So there's Tristan's number in it, and I'm going to call it from another phone that is not from a proprietary platform. And we should have network. One of them is not working on the cellular network. Okay, move on. But it's a real phone, so it really works. You get calls, and some people are using it as their main phone. So you get missed calls, contacts, and a regular dialer. You get SMS. And it's still querying the network. Anyway. So all you're seeing is HTML and JavaScript. And those are just the default apps that we ship with it. But you can install the same apps that I showed on Firefox for Android. The only thing is I don't have network to do that, so I can't showcase it to you. We have, a real camera in it. Ooh. And of course, it's a work in progress, so there's bugs. What else can I show? I have 3 minutes. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to show you that it's a real system. So let's switch to yet another phone. So this is some code, and I've marked it as demo. So here we have the background color of the scroller on top of the page. I'm going to change it to the best CSS color ever, which is, I don't know if you can read, Chartreuse. So what you're going to have later. And I'm also going to switch this. So that's white. I'm going to change it to red. And as you can see, this is CSS, and this is the code that runs the OS that you just saw. So now that I've done the change, I'm going to flash it onto the phone.
Do you realize you have two phones connected?
Yeah. So this is compiling all the CSS, JavaScript, and everything, and sending it through USB to the device. And it's sending WebM and OGG videos, and it's sending huge files, and I may not have the time to conclude. And I'm going to do the low tech demo. So you've seen the screen before, and it was yellow. It was white. Sorry, and thank you, assistant. So if you can see it, it's now red because I said it was going to be red, and the switcher at the top that you can't see. Maybe, yeah, the switcher is now green on top of it.
So it's Chartreuse.
Chartreuse, yes. Which is a green drink. So I just made two changes and send them to the phone, and it's really a web platform, as you can see, because it was CSS.
Can you show the CSS?
Yes. And so this is apps, home screen. So you have OpenScreen.javascript. This is the code.
All right.
This is the code that runs everything. And that's it for the crazy demos. Sorry for the network.